I now yield to Representative Kingston from Georgia for the purpose of introducing his constituent as a witness.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a great honor to be with you on this dais. You and Mr. Altmeyer, a good friend of mine from Pennsylvania, and I appreciate all the hard work that you do on this subcommittee to try to promote jobs in this tough economic environment. I appreciate the panel for being here. I have a hard deadline at 11 o'clock with another committee in which I serve, so I'm going to be leaving shortly before then, but I wanted to say hello and introduce my constituent, Brian Vaughn. He is no stranger to the struggles of an entrepreneur. He has been with the Burger King franchise operations since 1980 and kind of came up through the corporate structure working in Florida and in Georgia, and then in the 1990s took the plunge to become a franchisee himself, and since that period of time has bought out his partner and been on his own with his wife. I'm not sure if Cindy's here, but knows the importance of keeping employees happy by offering a good compensation package, including a good benefit package, worker safety, a good environment to work in, and has many employees who've been with him on the management side for over 10 years, which is remarkable. He has 4 stores in 3 different cities and also knows what it's like to compete in this environment and to get the customers back in when it's very hard on their pocketbooks and today's economy, but knows all the challenges that small business people face, really labor, environmental regulations, safety regulations, franchise regulations. I think he's been through it all, but has done it successfully. So I'm very proud to have him as a constituent and as an example of an entrepreneur. And I want to point out also, one of his jobs before he became an entrepreneur was to recruit entrepreneurs. So he looked at it and did not have to take that plunge, yet he made it anyhow. So I'm proud to have Brian Vaughn here today, and I look forward to his testimony.
Chairwoman Elmers, Congressman Altmeyer, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me to testify before you today on how the new health care law will impact my business and my employees. As the Congressman stated, my name is Brian Vaughn, and I own Nearly Famous Incorporated, which consists of 4 Burger King restaurants in Georgia. And I'm happy to be here today on behalf of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a proud member of the National Franchisee Association and have served on their board of directors for 3 years. Nothing I say here today reflects the position or opinions of my franchisor, Burger King Corporation. You know, when people think of Burger King, they think of a big international corporation. Even though the sign on the door says Burger King, my 4 restaurants are small, family-owned and run businesses. I began working as a Burger King assistant manager in 1980, as the Congressman said, earning $14,000 a year. After working my way up, I partnered in 1993 with Francis Lott to open our own 4 Burger King restaurants in Georgia. In 2001, I bought out my partner's interest, and today I operate these 4 restaurants with my wife, Cindy. At our 4 restaurants, we are proud to have created 182 jobs. We have 59 full-time employees and 123 part-time employees. 14 of our full-time employees are managers for whom we currently pay 100% of their health care premiums at an annual cost of nearly $56,000. We also pay for term life, short-term disability, vision, and dental insurance. My wife and I participate in this very same plan. For our other employees, we offer a Value Mini Med plan at a cost of between $106 and $165 per month. Currently, only 19 of the more 100 part-time employees have elected to participate. Many employees choose to keep the wages they earn to help pay for their day-to-day living expenses rather than use a portion of their wages to pay for the coverage. As the president of my company, I also have to decide how much of the company's income can be used to pay for wages and benefits, and how much has to be used to cover the expense of daily operations. There's only so much money, and first and foremost, we all have to cover our daily expenses. Washington, it seems, really doesn't understand this. A lot of noise was made last fall about the types of plans that I offer my employees. Under the health reform law, Washington has decreed that these so-called limited benefit plans are not acceptable. Despite repeated promises that if you like your plan, you can keep it, the law has outlawed these plans beginning in 2014. I understand that for many, a more comprehensive plan seems a critical, and by comparison, these limited benefit plans are slim. However, it's important to acknowledge reality. These plans are less expensive and allow my team members to choose to take more of their wages home and use a smaller amount of their wages to pay for some coverage. Prior to health reform, I had the flexibility to hire more workers, pay them a wage, and offer them access to this moderate coverage. Now I'm being told by Washington that I have to offer all my full-time employees Washington-defined health coverage or pay a penalty. Because of the cost of offering this prescribed coverage and the size of the penalty, I'll have no choice but to restructure my workforce in a way that protects me from losing everything I've worked for. What does this mean? Well, given the law and the unfinished regulations, and I mean unfinished regulations, it's hard to say. I have no idea. Prior to the law's enactment, my goal had been to hire fewer people for more hours. It's easier to retain employees that work full-time. However, now that the law is passed, I have to consider options other than what makes practical business sense. Now, because of what Washington has mandated, it may make more sense for me to hire more people for fewer hours at a time when millions of Americans are out of work. Is this really the right incentive? This is not what I want to do, and it's not what's best for my employees. But in order to survive and be able to pay the employees that I have to, it's what we'll have to do. While I have not read the entire law and I'm not able to follow the regulations, which are being issued at record speed, mind you, I'm trying to figure out how to protect the company that I've spent my entire life building. It's ironic that the law touted as the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act neither protects patients nor makes health care affordable. Instead, it's a law of broken promises under which no one will be able to keep the health care they have, even if they like it. It's a law which incents companies to scale back their workforces and reduce the benefits offered by their valued employees. In conclusion, I understand that given the existing political realities, Washington, D.C., a total repeal of the health care law by Congress is an unlikely proposition, at least for now. However, I am hopeful that Congress will repair or eliminate the more onerous burdens, such as the employer mandate. These provisions saddle businesses with new requirements that actually encourage us not to expand our business and astoundingly discourage us from creating jobs. The bottom line is that your decisions can help or hinder this. The laws you create can either give small businesses greater confidence and certainty to grow and generate new jobs, or just do the opposite. Regrettably, this new health care law is already doing the latter, and Congress must take the action to rectify it. Again, thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. And I'll just tell you that my very first job at age 16 was with Burger King back in Madison Heights, Michigan in 1980. So
Thank you.
I am thank you again for your testimony.